If I was on a wildcard ahead of FPL Gameweek 21, this would be the team or teams that I'd be looking to build. I've got 3 different teams here, so it's all mixing players about because there's a lot of good options, I feel. So whichever team you prefer, then that is fair enough. If you're an FPL fan and you're not subscribed to this channel, please do subscribe to this channel down below. It'd be very much appreciated. We'll do daily FPL content. If you don't mind dropping a like as well while you're down there, that would be very much appreciated. So we'll start off in goal where, for me, there's 2 clear standout options. It's Jordan Pickford and Matt Sells. Whichever one you prefer, go for. To be honest, I personally prefer Pickford just about, but Matt Sells as well is a very good option. Both incredible goalkeepers and both get a lot of points in FPL. Fabianski is the former keeper. Hopefully he finds his way back into the West Ham side, being injured recently. But if he gets back into the side, then it's definitely another handy option. So we'll move on to the defence now, and we'll talk about Trent Alexander-Arnold individually in a second, because I'm not 100% sure on this pick. A lot depends on what kind of happens over the Carabao Cup and the FA Cup before making a decision on him. But we'll start off with Gabriel. Arsenal's defence hasn't been great recently in terms of they're not keeping many clean sheets, but their defensive numbers in terms of XG conceded is still up there with the best in the whole of the Premier League, and they have still got one of the best defences in the whole of the Prem. And Gabriel's got that attacking threat as well, so for me, Gabriel is still a very good option. Then we've got Lewis Hall, who's got a great run of fixtures coming up. He's very good going forward. He looks like he's nailed down a spot in that Newcastle team despite Botman coming back from injury. I think Lewis Hall's got to stay in at left back, and the way he's playing, as I say, and the way Newcastle are playing, I think Lewis Hall is a great option. As our former defender, we've got Jacob Greaves. It can be any former defender that you think is going to play. Realistically, they're never really going to be in the starting 11 unless Jacob Greaves has Southampton at home and the other defenders have horrific fixtures. That's the only way that's happening. Then we'll talk about Trent Alexander-Arnold. Now, he's been spoken about a lot in FPL at the moment. Obviously, dropping an all-time stinker against United the other day. And he was amazing the week before, that 15 points. And people's opinions can change very quickly. It just depends on kind of what happens. Liverpool play in the Carabao Cup, and they also play in the FA Cup as well at the weekend. We need to kind of see what minutes Bradley and Alexander-Arnold gets, but his minutes aren't guaranteed. Really can't 100% say he's going to start every single game. You just can't say it, which is enough to probably put somebody off. So if you wanted to downgrade Trent, you can upgrade elsewhere. You can go for Konate. We'll have another team later on in the video if you wanted to stick with Liverpool, because Liverpool also is very worth noting as well that Liverpool have a double game week in potentially game week 24 or game week 25. And ideally, you need at least minimum 2 Liverpool players, probably even 3 for the double game week. And that's another reason for really going for Pickford over Sells, well, that double game week that Everton are going to have in game week 24 or 25. Obviously, boosts Pickford's points, and it boosts his kind of, well, you wanting to pick him, you want to pick him more. Then we've got the 5th defender as Ola Aina. It could be any Nottingham Forest defender. You could go for Milenkovic if you want to. Ola Aina's I've already got him in my team, so it depends on if you've got Aina or not. You can maybe go for Milenkovic. Also at 4.3 million, there's Nico Williams, who we'll speak about a bit later in the video, who looks great value right now. Now moving on to the midfield 5, we have got Morgan Rogers, who I think he's pretty much a lock-in, to be honest. At his price point, he's amazing value. He's Aston Villa's best player, in my opinion, over the course of this season. As I say, for that kind of price point, over the course of the season, he's proved that he's been a great asset, and I just think he is the best, as I say. No matter what the fixtures are, I just prefer Morgan Rogers as the best option around that price point. Then we've got Brian Mbuemo. This is the player that's going to get swapped about in the video, but I still don't think he's a bad option at all. His next 2 games are tricky, Man City and Liverpool, but then and from game week 23 onwards, it's a great run of fixtures for Brentford. So it depends on your situation. If you wanted to go for Mbuemo, you're absolutely not wrong to go for him. I think Man City at home, personally, this week is a very good fixture for Brentford. I think Brentford will get goals against City. City won the last 2 matches, but it is against Leicester and West Ham, who are just terrible teams. Brentford are not at the same level as Leicester and West Ham, especially going forward and especially at home. They are one of the best teams in the whole of the Premier League going forward at home, especially. So I think Mbuemo is a great option. His stats over the course of the season, his goals that he's put up, his numbers that he's put up, is enough to prove why Mbuemo is a great pick. But as I say, if you want to choose somebody else, who we're going to talk about later in the video, then that is absolutely fair enough, because you can always transfer him in at a later date from game week 23 onwards, which again, it's not a bad option to go for. Cole Palmer, we don't really need to speak about. I think everybody owns him at this point. It's just too risky going without him. And the same for Mo Salah. Mo Salah's just unbelievable. Like, no debate. You've got to have those 2, in my opinion. And another one that's pretty much nailed in for me is Anthony Gordon. The next 4 fixtures for Newcastle are really nice. Playing against Wolves at home next is an amazing game for Newcastle. Anthony Gordon's got 7 returns in the last 8 matches as well. So he's performing in a good Newcastle team, which has got good fixtures coming up. I just think he's an absolute lock-in my opinion. And then moving on to the front 3, we've gone for starting off with joao and wissa. Now, again, it might look a little bit strange how you got to double up on Brentford. So if you, as I say, if you want to swap out Mbuemo or if you want to swap out Wissa, then fair enough. Around Vissa's price point, you can maybe go for a Raul Jimenez, who's not got absolutely nailed minutes, but right now you'd say they are, just due to the fact that he scored 2 in the last game. But then later down the line, he might be a bit of an issue. There's also Joao Pedro as well, who's on penalties. He's been getting quite a few returns to Brighton in the last couple of game weeks. We've got 3 returns in the last 2 weeks. And he looks good. It's just when you own him, he always seems to be a problem. But Joao Pedro is undoubtedly a very good option as well. But I've gone for Johan Wissa just because of game week 23 onwards. The fixture run for Brentford is very nice. And would it really surprise you if he scored against Man City? Definitely wouldn't. Would it surprise you if he scored against Liverpool? Maybe, but it wouldn't be absolutely out of the question. And then we've got Alexander Isak again. He's just a lock-in. The way he's playing at the moment, 9 goals in his last 7 games. There's no arguments. You've got to have Isak in your team. And Chris Wood, I've spoken about Chris Wood a lot on my TikTok. He's just the absolute FPL king. What an option he is. And at that price point, I know he's quite expensive now. He's up at 6.8 million, I believe, but he's just a great option. And Nottingham Forest have been so good this season. And as I say, there's not really that many other options that really stand out to me other than Chris Wood. And then moving on to the second team that we have got. So there was changing it up in defence. We're still leaving Transrado in this team. The third team will not have him, but this team is just swapping 2 players about. So if you like the look of that team and you want to get rid of mbuemo, then we'll show you in a second. So we've got rid of Lewis Hall. We've downgraded him to Nico Williams. It is a double up on the Nottingham Forest defence, which might look a little bit strange, but Nottingham Forest have been unbelievable at the back this season, and Nico Williams at 4.3 million in isolation. If he keeps his place, the problem is that they've got Alex Moreno, who can also fit in there, but Nico Williams has been playing for a lot of game weeks in a row now, and he's been playing very, very well. So if you wanted to go for him, that's fair enough. You can also maybe go for Mark Gahey at 4.5 million, or you could downgrade Aina to somebody to a 4.5 million defender, then upgrade Nico Williams as well. So there's multiple ways you can go about it, but the Nottingham Forest double up honestly isn't that bad with the fixture that they've got after this Liverpool game. And then the other change would have been then mbuemo, who we would upgrade to Bruno Fernandes, because Southampton at home is a very good fixture. The way to go potentially in the wildcard could be to go for Bruno Fernandes, and then after game week 23 swap Bruno Fernandes straight swap to mbuemo. That's probably the best way to go about it, to be honest. But yeah, so that's the second team. Very similar, just 2 changes. Nico Williams in and Bruno Fernandes in, and then out is Lewis Hall and then mbuemo. And then the final team that I've got, I actually really like the look of this team as well. So this is actually downgrading Trent Alexander-Arnold. So we downgraded Trent Alexander-Arnold to Konate, who came back from injury, played the full 90 minutes against Man United, and he always seems to get picked by Arne Slot. Arne Slot's had him in since he dropped Quanta at half time in that game week 1. Konate, when he's been fit, has pretty much been in every single match. So Konate is obviously Arne Slot's pick, and it just depends on if Konate can stay fit or not, which he's obviously got a history of getting quite a few injuries. But if he's in the team, he's a great value option at 5.1 million. As I said, the double game week coming up, you've still got that Liverpool double up for the double game week 24 or game week 25. So you don't have to do too much like transfers with your team to bring in another Liverpool asset as well. It's only 1 transfer to triple up on Liverpool. So then the defence would look like Gabriel, Lewis Hall, Jacob Greaves, Konate and Aina, which does look like a very good backline, I'm not going to lie. Then moving on to the midfield, then we stick Bruno Fernandes back in with the money that we've downgraded Trent to Konate with, and we've swapped it about in front as well. But the midfield 5, again, it's a very good midfield 5. You've got 4 players in Gordon, Palmer, Salah and Bruno, who are, in my opinion, that is the best 4 to attack the next couple of game weeks. And then it probably is from game week 23, bringing in mbuemo and swapping out Bruno Fernandes. That's what I do think the best way to go is. And then the front 3, we have upgraded then. We've upgraded to Mateta as our striker. He's got a good fixture run for Crystal Palace. A big differential Mateta is. At 7.2 million, obviously, he might not do that well, but who knows. But he's done okay so far for Palace. He hasn't been as good as what he was last season in the second half of the season. But, as I say, with the fixtures coming up as a big differential, Mateta could do very well. And you've got Mateta, Isak and Chris Wood in the front 3. Let me know which wildcard team you like the most out of those 3 wildcard teams. Drop a like if you enjoyed the video. Please do subscribe to the channel. It'd be very much appreciated. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.